Today we are looking at 50 famous fathers and their children. Let's go. At number 50 we have Will Smith and Jaden Smith. Will Smith became a global superstar through The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1991-996, and blockbusters like Men in Black, 1997, and Independence Day, 1996. The charismatic rapper-turned-actor who conquered music, television, and film. His son, Jaden Smith, born 1998, starred alongside his dad in The Pursuit of Happiness, 2006 at age 8 and After Earth, 2013. Now at 26 years old, he's a musician, fashion icon, and philosophical Twitter legend. More focused on music and environmental activism than traditional acting. The apple fell far from the tree intentionally. At number 49 we have Tom Hanks and Colin Hanks. Tom Hanks, the nicest guy in Hollywood, won back-to-back Oscars for Philadelphia, 1993, and Forrest Gump, 1994, with countless classics including Saving Private Ryan, 1998, and Castaway, 2000. His son, Colin Hanks, born 1977, carved his own path with Orange County, 2002, Fargo TV series 2014, and The Offer, 2022. At 47 years old, he's proven he's more than Tom's son. He's a respected character actor who doesn't rely on the Hanks name. Zero scandals, maximum talent. At number 48 we have Denzel Washington and John David Washington. Denzel Washington is a two-time Oscar winner for Training Day, 2001, and Glory, 1989, is considered one of the greatest actors alive. He starred in Malcolm X, 1992, The Equalizer series, and countless classics. His son, John David Washington, born 1984, was a professional football player before acting, broke out in Black KK Klansman, 2018, and starred in Tenet, 2020. At 40 years old, he's becoming an action star in his own right, proving talent runs in the family, but the path doesn't have to be the same. At number 47 we have Clint Eastwood and Scott Eastwood. Clint Eastwood starred in the legendary Man with No Name from spaghetti westerns, directed and in classics like Unforgiven, 1992, and Gran Torino, 2008. His son, Scott Eastwood, born 1986, starred in The Longest Ride, 2015, Suicide Squad, 2016, and Fast and Furious 8, 2017. At 38 years old, he's carved a career as an action star and heartthrob. That jawline is pure Eastwood genetics, scary similar to young Clint. At number 46 we have Arnold Schwarzenegger and Patrick Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Austrian oak, dominated action cinema with Terminator franchise, Predator, 1987, and Total Recall, 1990. Bodybuilder to actor to Governor of California, the ultimate immigrant success story. His son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, born 1993, appeared in Midnight Sun, 2018, and Moxie, 2021. At 31 years old, he's also an entrepreneur with a clothing line, dated Miley Cyrus, and continues building his own brand separate from Dad's massive shadow. At number 45 we have Pierce Brosnan and Dylan Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan brought James Bond back to life with GoldenEye, 1995, through Die Another Day, 2002, the smoothest 007 of the modern era with Irish charm and perfect hair. His son, Dylan Brosnan, born 1997, works primarily as a fashion model for major brands like Yves Saint Laurent and Burberry. At 27 years old, he's chosen the runway over the big screen. Those Bond genes translated to modeling perfection, he's ridiculously photogenic. Number 44 we have Sylvester Stallone and Sage Stallone. Sylvester Stallone created Rocky and Rambo, two of cinema's most iconic characters. Rocky, 1976, earned him Oscar nominations for writing and acting the ultimate underdog story both on and off screen. His son, Sage Stallone, born 1976, appeared alongside his dad in Rocky v. 1990, tragically passed away in 2012 at just 36 years old from heart disease. He was pursuing directing and had founded a film restoration company. On way too soon, Sly has never fully recovered from the loss. At number 43 we have Michael Douglas and Cameron Douglas. Michael Douglas won Oscars for Wall Street, 1987, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, as producer. Hollywood royalty as Kirk Douglas's son, who became even more famous than his legendary father. His son, Cameron Douglas, born 1978, struggled with addiction and served 7 years in prison for drug-related charges. At 45 years old, he's now sober, wrote a memoir Long Way Home, 2019, and is rebuilding his life, the darker side of Hollywood legacy, but he's fighting back. At number 42 we have Jon Voight and Angelina Jolie. Jon Voight won an Oscar for Coming Home, 1978, and starred in Midnight Cowboy, 1969, one of the 70s greatest method actors who brought intensity to every role. His daughter, Angelina Jolie, born 1975, became bigger than her famous dad. Oscar winner for Girl Interrupted, 1999, action star in Tomb Raider, 2001, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 2005. At 49 years old, she's a director, humanitarian, and global icon. They had a famous estrangement but have reconciled somewhat. At number 41 we have Martin Sheen and Charlie Sheen. Martin Sheen, born Ramon Estevez, starred in Apocalypse Now, 1979, and The West Wing, 1999-2006. Changed his stage name but kept his integrity as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. His son, Charlie Sheen, born 1965, became huge with Platoon 1986, Wall Street 1987, and Two and a Half Men 2003-2011 before his infamous meltdown. At 59 years old, he's rebuilding his career after addiction struggles and the Tiger Blood era. The family talent is undeniable, the stability questionable. At number 40 we have Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell. Kurt Russell became an icon with Escape from New York, 1981, The Thing, 1982, and romanced Goldie Hawn for over 40 years. The ultimate cool guy who never needed marriage certificates to prove commitment. His son, Wyatt Russell, born 1986, was a professional hockey player before acting. Starred in 22 Jump Street, 2014, Overlord, 2018, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 2021. At 38 years old, he's proving you can switch careers and still succeed, athletic and talented. At number 39 we have Lenny Kravitz and Zoe Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, rock legend who won 4 consecutive Grammy Awards and sold over 40 million albums. Fly Away, 1998, and Are You Gonna Go My Way, 1993, defined 90s rock. Still doesn't age, it's supernatural. His daughter, Zoe Kravitz, born 1988, starred in Big Little Lies, 2017-2019, The Batman, 2022 as Catwoman, and Mad Max: Fury Road, 2015. At 36 years old, she's also a singer and model. That bohemian cool comes naturally. She's Lenny's daughter and Lisa Bonnett's daughter. Double genetic jackpot. At number 38 we have Lionel Richie and Nicole Richie. Lionel Richie sold over 100 million records with hits like Hello, 1984, and All Night Long, 1983. Motown legend and current American Idol judge who wrote the soundtrack to the 80s. His daughter, Nicole Richie, born 1981, adopted, became famous on The Simple Life, 2003-2007 with Paris Hilton. At 43 years old, she's a fashion designer, author, and married to Joel Madden. Went from wild child to responsible mom, complete transformation. At number 37 we have Phil Collins and Lily Collins. Phil Collins is a Genesis drummer turned solo superstar with In the Air Tonight, 1981, and countless 80s hits. One of the best-selling artists ever with over 150 million records sold worldwide. His daughter, Lily Collins, born 1989, starred in The Blind Side, 2009, Mirror Mirror, 2012, and Emily in Paris, 2020, present on Netflix. At 35 years old, she's become a major star. Those eyebrows are iconic, and she's admitted having a complicated relationship with her famous father. At number 36 we have Robin Williams and Zelda Williams. Robin Williams was a comedy genius with Oscar win for Good Will Hunting, 1997, and classics like Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, Dead Poets Society, 1989, and Aladdin, 1992. Tragically took his own life in 2014 at age 63. His daughter, Zelda Williams, born 1989, named after the video game, has worked as an actress and director. At 35 years old, she's been open about grief and mental health advocacy after her father's death. She's protective of his legacy and fights online trolls who disrespect his memory. Pure strength. At number 35 we have Julio Iglesias and Enrique Iglesias. Julio Iglesias sold over 300 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling Latin artists ever, the Spanish crooner with romantic ballads who conquered global markets. His son, Enrique Iglesias, born 1975, became even bigger than his dad with hits like Bailamos, 1999, Hero, 2001, and Bailando, 2014. At 49 years old, he's the king of Latin pop with over 180 million records sold. Father-son duo dominates Latin music across generations. At number 34, Bob Marley and Ziggy Marley. Bob Marley brought reggae to the world with No Woman, No Cry, 1974, Redemption Song, 1980, and became a cultural icon. Died tragically at 36 in 1981, but his legacy is eternal. His son, Ziggy Marley, born 1968, won 8 Grammy Awards with his own music and Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. At 56 years old, he continues his father's legacy while creating his own sound. Multiple Marley kids are musicians, it's a dynasty. At number 33 we have Steven Tyler and Liv Tyler. Steven Tyler blew our minds with hits like Dream On, 1973, and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, 1998. The screaming rock god with scarves and a massive mouth who defined rock and roll excess. His daughter, Liv Tyler, born 1977, didn't know Steven was her father until age 11. Starred in Armageddon, 1998, Lord of the Rings Trilogy 2001-2003 as Arwen. At 47 years old, she's a successful actress who reconciled with her dad. That discovery must have been wild. At number 32 we have Quincy Jones and Rashida Jones. Quincy Jones produced Michael Jackson's Thriller, 1982, won 28 Grammy Awards, and is one of the most influential music producers in history. Worked with everyone from Frank Sinatra to Michael Jackson. His daughter, Rashida Jones, born 1976, starred in The Office, 2006-2013, and Parks and Recreation, 2009-2015. At 48 years old, she's also a writer and producer. She chose comedy over music and crushed it. Also dated John Krasinski before he married Emily Blunt. At number 31 we have Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee. Bruce Lee revolutionized martial arts cinema with Enter the Dragon, 1973, and created Jeet Kune Do philosophy, the most influential martial artist ever who died mysteriously at 32 in 1973. His son, Brandon Lee, born 1965, starred in Rapid Fire, 1992, and The Crow, 1994, tragically killed in an on-set accident during The Crow, filming at just 28 years old in 1994. Both father and son died young in tragic circumstances. Many believe it's a family curse. At number 30, we have Johnny Cash and Rosanne Cash. Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, was a country legend with Ring of Fire, 1963, I Walk the Line, 1956, and the iconic Folsom Prison concerts. Married June Carter and conquered addiction to become an icon. His daughter, Rosanne Cash, born 1955, is a Grammy-winning country Americana artist with 11 #1 hits. At 69 years old, she's carved her own path in music while honoring her father's legacy. The Cash name carries weight, she earned it. At number 29 we have Sean Connery and Jason Connery. Sean Connery was the original James Bond in Dr. No, 1962, through Diamonds Are Forever, 1971, won an Oscar for The Untouchables, 1987. The gold standard for 007, who passed away in 2020 at age 90. His son, Jason Connery, born 1963, appeared in Robin Hood TV series 1985-1986 and various films. At 61 years old, he's worked as actor and director but never reached his father's stratospheric fame. That's an impossible shadow to escape. At number 28 we have Donald Sutherland and Kiefer Sutherland. Donald Sutherland starred in MASH, 1970, Don't Look Now, 1973, Ordinary People, 1980, and The Hunger Games, 2012-2015, one of cinema's greatest character actors across 6 decades. His son, Kiefer Sutherland, born 1966, became a superstar with 24, 2001-2010 as Jack Bauer. At 58 years old, he's also a country music singer. Father and son appeared together in Forsaken, 2015, both talented, both intense. At number 27 we have David Bowie and Duncan Jones. David Bowie was a music chameleon who reinvented himself constantly with Space Oddity, 1969, Heroes, 1977, and influenced generations. The thin white duke who died in 2016 at age 69. His son, Duncan Jones, born 1971, originally Zowie Bowie, became a successful director with Moon 2009, Source Code 2011, and Warcraft 2016. At 53 years old, he chose film directing over music. Smart move, he created his own lane separate from Dad's legacy. At number 26 we have Alan Thicke and Robin Thicke. Alan Thicke starred in Growing Pains, 1980-51992 as the ultimate TV dad, also composed theme songs for Different Strokes and The Facts of Life. Died suddenly in 2016 at age 69. His son, Robin Thicke, born 1977, had a massive hit with Blurred Lines, 2013, which became controversial, at 47 years old. He's a singer-songwriter who battled addiction and divorced Paula Patton publicly, more famous than his dad musically, for better and worse. At number 25 we have Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda. Henry Fonda was a Hollywood legend with 12 Angry Men, 1957, The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, and won an Oscar for On Golden Pond, 1981, just before his death, the principled American everyman. His daughter, Jane Fonda, born 1937, won 2 Oscars for Clute, 1971, and Coming Home, 1978. At 87 years old, she's still acting, activist for peace and environment and fitness icon. She became more famous and controversial than her father, a true icon. At number 24 we have Jerry Stiller and Ben Stiller. Jerry Stiller was a comedy legend with Ann Mira, then Seinfeld, 1993-1998, as Frank Costanza and The King of Queens, 1998-2007, died in 2020 at age 92 after a legendary career. His son, Ben Stiller, born 1965, became huge with There's Something About Mary, 1998, Meet the Parents, 2000, Zoolander, 2001, and Night at the Museum, 2006. At 59 years old, he's also a director and producer, surpassed his dad's fame but always honored him. At number 23 we have Eddie Fisher and Carrie Fisher. Eddie Fisher was a 50s singing sensation and teen idol who sold millions of records, famous for leaving Debbie Reynolds for Elizabeth Taylor in a massive Hollywood scandal. He died in 2010 at age 82 after a tumultuous life. His daughter, Carrie Fisher, born 1956, became Princess Leia in Star Wars, 1977-2017, and was a brilliant writer with Postcards from the Edge, 1987. She died tragically in 2016 at age 60. She had a complicated relationship with her father who was largely absent. Her honesty about addiction and mental health was groundbreaking. At number 22 we have Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal starred in Love Story, 1970, and Paper Moon, 1973, the 70s heartthrob with a troubled personal life and long relationship with Farrah Fawcett. At the daughter, Tatum O'Neal, born 1963, won an Oscar for Paper Moon, 1973, at just 10 years old, youngest competitive Oscar winner ever. At 61 years old, she struggled with addiction and had a difficult relationship with her father. Child stardom took its toll. At number 21 we have Lawrence Fishburne and Montana Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne starred in Boys and the Hood, 1991, The Matrix Trilogy, 1999-2003 as Morpheus, and What's Love Got to Do with It, 1993, one of the most respected actors alive. His daughter, Montana Fishburne, born 1991, unfortunately made headlines in 2010 for entering adult entertainment, devastating her father publicly. At 33 years old, she's largely out of the public eye. Sometimes the story isn't Hollywood magic, it's Hollywood tragedy. At number 20 we have Ice Cube and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Ice Cube revolutionized rap with NWA, then conquered acting with Boys and the Hood, 1991, Friday, 1995, and Barbershop 2002. From gangsta rap to family comedies, incredible range. His son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., born 1991, played his own father in Straight Outta Compton 2015 and killed it. At 33 years old, he's building an acting career on his own terms. The resemblance is uncanny, genetics are real. At number 19 we have Francis Ford Coppola and Sofia Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola directed The Godfather trilogy 1970-1990, Apocalypse Now 1979, and The Conversation 1974, one of cinema's greatest directors who defined New Hollywood. His daughter, Sofia Coppola, born 1971, was mocked for acting in Godfather III 1990 but became an Oscar-winning director for Lost in Translation 2003. At 53 years old, she's a respected filmmaker. She proved everyone wrong, the ultimate comeback. At number 18 we have Elvis Presley and Lisa Marie Presley. Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll with over 600 million records sold. He changed music forever and died tragically at 42 in 1977. He is the ultimate American icon. His daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, born 1968, had a music career and married Michael Jackson, Nicolas Cage, and others. She tragically died in 2023 at age 54 from cardiac arrest. Her son also died by suicide in 2020. The Presley curse continued, heartbreaking family tragedy. At number 17 we have Paul Newman and Scott Newman. Paul Newman had those legendary blue eyes and starred in Cool Hand Luke, 1967, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, and The Sting, 1973, also founded Newman's Own, which donated over $600 million to charity. His son, Scott Newman, born 1950, struggled with his father's fame and tragically died of a drug overdose at 28 in 1978. Paul Newman created the Scott Newman Center for Drug Abuse Prevention in his memory. Sometimes the spotlight is too much. At number 16 we have Ozzy Osbourne and Kelly Osbourne. His father, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, fronted Black Sabbath and had a legendary solo career. The Osbournes' reality show 2000-2005 made the family household names again. His daughter, Kelly Osbourne, born 1984, became famous on The Osbournes and has worked as TV host, fashion critic on Fashion Police, and singer. At 40 years old, she's overcome addiction and recently became a mother. The Osbourne chaos genetics are strong. At number 15, we have Danny DeVito and Lucy DeVito. Danny DeVito starred in Taxi, 1978-1983, Twins, 1988, Batman Returns, 1992 as Penguin, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, 2006-present. The short king who conquered Hollywood with talent and humor. His daughter, Lucy DeVito, born 1983, has appeared in Deadbeat, 2014-2016, and various stage productions. At 41 years old, she's carved a career in theater and television. She inherited her dad's talent and mom Rhea Perlman's sass. At number 14 we have Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus. Billy Ray Cyrus had a massive hit with Achy Breaky Heart, 1992, and starred in Hannah Montana, 2006-2011 as Miley's TV dad. Country music one-hit wonder who became relevant again through his daughter. His daughter, Miley Cyrus, born 1992, became a Disney star on Hannah Montana, then shocked the world by rebelling hard with Wrecked Ball, 2013. At 32 years old, she's a Grammy winner with Flowers, 2023, and completely eclipsed her father's fame. The transformation from Disney princess to twerking rebel was wild. At number 13 we have Muhammad Ali and Laila Ali. Muhammad Ali was the greatest boxer of all time with an incredible record and legendary status beyond sports. He was a social activist, poet, and icon who died in 2016 at age 74. His daughter, Laila Ali, born 1977, became an undefeated professional boxer with a 24-0 record. At 46 years old, she's a TV host and fitness expert. She proved daughters can follow fathers into combat sports and dominate. At number 12 we have O.J. Simpson and Sidney Simpson. O.J. Simpson was an NFL legend, actor, and then became infamous for the 1995 murder trial acquittal regarding Nicole Brown Simpson's death. One of the most controversial figures in American history who died in 2024 at age 76. His daughter, Sidney Simpson, born 1985, witnessed her mother's murder as a child. At 39 years old, she lives completely privately, runs a catering business, and avoids all media attention. She deserves privacy after the trauma. At number 11 we have Kris Kristofferson and His Children. Kris Kristofferson was a country music legend and actor in A Star Is Born 1976 and Blade Trilogy 1998-2004. As a songwriter, he wrote Me and Bobby McGee and Married to Rita Coolidge. He died in 2024 at age 88. His 8 children mostly stayed out of the spotlight, with some pursuing music. They've kept low profiles despite their legendary father's fame. Sometimes not following in footsteps is the healthiest choice. At number 10 we have Marlon Brando and Christian Brando. Marlon Brando revolutionized acting with A Streetcar Named Desire, 1951, and The Godfather, 1972. He is considered the greatest actor ever who became reclusive and troubled. His son, Christian Brando, born 1958, was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for killing his sister's boyfriend in 1990. He served 5 years in prison and died at 49 in 2008. The Brando family tragedies were immense, fame's dark underbelly. At number 9 we have Kirk Douglas and Michael Douglas. Kirk Douglas was a Hollywood legend in Spartacus, 1960, and over 90 films. He lived to 103 years old, dying in 2020, one of the last golden age stars who saw everything. His son, Michael Douglas, born 1944, won Oscars for producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, and starring in Wall Street, 1987. At 80 years old, he's still acting. His son became more famous than his legendary father, rare achievement. At number 8 we have Bob Dylan and Jakob Dylan. Bob Dylan changed music forever, winning the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2016. Like a Rolling Stone, 1965, and countless classics made him a voice of generations. His son, Jakob Dylan, born 1969, fronted the Wallflowers with hits like One Headlight, 1996. At 55 years old, he's carved his own musical path while honoring his father's legacy. The Dylan name carries expectations, he handled them well. At number 7 we have Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole. Nat King Cole was a legendary crooner with Unforgettable, 1951, and the first African-American to host a TV variety show. He died tragically at 45 in 1965 from lung cancer. His daughter, Natalie Cole, born 1950, won 9 Grammy Awards and famously recorded a duet with her deceased father using technology for Unforgettable, 1991. She died in 2015 at age 65 from health complications. Both incredibly talented, that posthumous duet was haunting and beautiful. At number 6 we have John Lennon and Sean Lennon. John Lennon was a Beatle, peace activist, and solo artist with Imagine, 1971, defining a generation. He was assassinated tragically in 1980 at age 40 in front of his New York apartment. His son, Sean Lennon, born 1975, is a musician, producer, and activist. At 49 years old, he collaborates with his mother Yoko Ono to protect his father's legacy. He also dated Charlotte Kempmuhl and creates experimental music. The pressure of being John Lennon's son is unimaginable. At number 5 we have Frank Sinatra and Nancy Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was all blue eyes, the chairman of the board, with a career spanning 6 decades. My Way, 1969, The Rat Pack, and acting in From Here to Eternity, 1953, made him a legend. His daughter, Nancy Sinatra, born 1940, had huge hits with These Boots Are Made for Walkin', 1966, and Something Stupid, 1967, duet with her father. At 84 years old, she's a music icon who held her own alongside her legendary dad. That father-daughter duet hit number 1. At number 4 we have Bing Crosby and Harry Crosby. Bing Crosby's White Christmas is the best-selling single ever with over 50 million copies. Hollywood's biggest star of the 1940s who died in 1977 at age 74. His son, Harry Crosby, born 1958, is the youngest son of legendary entertainer Bing Crosby and his second wife, Catherine Crosby, known as a former actor like in Friday the 13th, who transitioned into a successful career as an investment banker and partner in private equity, though he still occasionally performs music. At number 3 we have Gregory Peck and Cecilia Peck. Gregory Peck was Hollywood's moral compass in To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962, winning an Oscar. Roman Holiday, 1953, made him a romantic lead, the definition of dignified masculinity, who died in 2003 at age 87. His daughter, Cecilia Peck, born 1958, worked as an actress and documentary filmmaker. At 66 years old, she's focused on directing and producing rather than acting. Also produced documentaries about social justice. Her father's values live on. At number 2, we have Paul McCartney and Stella McCartney. Paul McCartney was a Beatle Wings frontman and wrote some of history's greatest songs. Hey Jude, 1968, Let It Be, 1970, and countless classics, still touring at 82 years old. His daughter, Stella McCartney, born 1971, became a world-renowned fashion designer known for sustainable, cruelty-free luxury fashion. At 53 years old, she's a fashion icon who chose design over music. Proved she didn't need the McCartney name, she earned her own legacy. At number 1, we have Eddie Murphy and Eric Murphy. Eddie Murphy revolutionized comedy with Saturday Night Live, 1981-984, then dominated the box office with Beverly Hills Cop, 1984, Coming to America, 1988, The Nutty Professor, 1996, and won critical acclaim for Dreamgirls, 2006. One of the highest-grossing actors of all time, with films making over $7 billion worldwide. At 63 years old, he's still making hits with Coming to America, 2021, and continues his legendary career. His son, Eric Murphy, born 1989, has worked behind the scenes in entertainment and as a voice actor. At 35 years old, he's taken a different path from his famous father, staying mostly out of the spotlight while building a career in production and voice work. He's one of Eddie's 10 children and has chosen privacy over fame.